Hello, my name is Patricia. I am the Guardian Coach in this wonderful group coaching program that we have, and I'm here to discuss social. Um, each health type considers social, it has a different priority for each health type. For example, if you are a crusader or maybe a sensor, social would be pretty low down on your priority list. In fact, I would place it a number, in fact, PH360 places it as number 6. It's not as important to you as the other things that are going on in your life in terms of your health. It doesn't say that you're not a social person. It just means that as a priority for your best health, social is not at the top of your list. That's also true for diplomats. Diplomats, it's number 5. And if you're an activator, it's number 3. And if you're a connector, it's number 2. So I'm a guardian. And so where does social stand with me? Social is my number 1 priority. And believe me, that surprised me a great deal. You might be wondering why. Well, I think of social as just sort of normal getting on with life, but I would have thought food was a bigger priority for me. But when you think about the way the different elements of your day-to-day life come together to create that holistic package that is you, and what is important to your biology and what needs to happen for your biology, when I understood the connection of social for the guardian body type, it finally dawned on me how important and critical it was. Because if social isn't right for me, if I don't feel like I'm supporting, connecting, communicating, thriving within the community that I have, whether that's my family and friends, work colleagues, a community that I want to serve, if I don't have that as a whole for myself, that puts my body in a state of stress. And when this body's in a state of stress, it starts craving foods that are inappropriate. It will start overeating. And I know this because this happens to me frequently if my life isn't in balance, and social plays that critical role for me. So I found that very fascinating. And I love that about PH360 because it really allows you to explore all of these unique things about yourself. And just to think that for a guardian, if our social is wrong or not quite balanced or not set up so that we feel that the people that we support and care for through that beautiful hormone prolactin, then we feel like the world is in trouble and it stresses us out. And we feel that way, we start accumulating. And that accumulation in the form of food goes right into the body, goes into our fat stores, and we just attract, accumulate. And before you know it, if you haven't sorted out and gotten to the bottom of why that is, you will have a body that you won't recognize. That happened to me. I had a body I did not recognize. I looked at it and said, "Where did you come from?" But that body hung out with me for a long time. And then I found PH360, and when I started putting the importance on making sure that I was connecting with family and friends, and that my community, that I was connecting in with my community and finding the right times of day for all of that connection, I found that removing some excess weight was easier than I ever expected. And I also know that when it's out of balance, the foods that I crave, I will crave them and eat them and then look at an empty packet and go, where in the world did that go? That happens, that used to happen to me all the time. It's happening less frequently now. And it's a little tell that says, you're out of balance, Patricia. Get back in there, find out what's causing this out of balance, and get your social sorted out and get to the bottom and make sure that the people that you know are okay. And that's really, really important. And it can come up at different times of your life. I recently had a family member pass away. In fact, it wasn't just a member of my family, it was my father. And although I hadn't seen him in a long time because of living in Australia and the fact that COVID um, made traveling to the US difficult, and the last time I saw him was in 2019, I was in touch with a family member who was keeping me up to date with his status. But it still was very difficult. And he also had Alzheimer's, which made our relationship even harder. And I've been grieving for that relationship with my father for a very long time. And I didn't appreciate or understand that it had an impact on my body. And it really made me very, very sad. And I didn't understand that that was causing some social disconnect for me. And once I understood that and appreciated what the impact was, I had to find other ways of connecting with different members of family, or what I chose to do was to keep his memory alive in a different way for myself, so that I know when I check in with him, I'm actually checking in with myself. I wrote him a letter to check in with him, and I wrote a letter back to myself just to keep that balance going. Now that might sound a little odd, and it may it may sound a little odd to a lot of you, but for this guardian who needed to keep that connection going, to know that that relationship and the history of that relationship could be nurtured through activities that I could do was very important to me. Um, Also, when I'm feeling out of balance in my social, I will investigate networking groups. Or my favorite is groups where I can be outdoors, walking in nature, and sharing a laugh or a giggle. Um, Particularly if you're out walking or something, it's probably one of my favorite ways to connect with other people, is to do that. Um, Guardians like to connect with like-minded people who make us feel at ease, comfortable in our own skin, so to speak. We can be introverts and guardians, and we can be extroverts and guardians. I happen to be the extrovert, and people would used to call me very loud. And in fact, I'm still very loud. Just over time and over years, I've kind of put a damper on how loud I can be. But when I was growing up, I was probably the loudest person in the room. I laughed very loudly. I spoke loudly. I still speak loudly. And but I can be very shy and withdrawn when the social situation doesn't make me feel comfortable. I will withdraw a little bit. I'm not very good with small talk. I like to engage with deeper conversations that allow me to express my opinion in a very nurturing way. Would never want anyone to feel uncomfortable. But if I am uncomfortable or upset about something, I will express my opinion in a verbal way. And if that comes out, if I'm angry about something, it will come out. And I need to learn to step back, think about what I'm about to say, and check my emotions before I say anything, because the tone can come across very harshly, which isn't nice for a guardian. Guardians never want anybody to feel uncomfortable, unloved, or unwanted. We always want to be wrapping our big arms around everyone. But this isn't the case for all the health types. So I'm going to go through social for crusaders and sensors, who think of social as number 6 on their priority list, and that's 6 out of 6. So that's pretty low, whereas I think of it as my number 1 priority out of 6. So that's quite a difference. So a crusader does like to hang out, and they like to hang out in small groups of like-minded people, not too dissimilar, close friends, and they interact well with all the health types, but find it easier to be around people who think logically. So the fun gregariousness of of a connector or a guardian might be a little bit too difficult for the crusader to be around us for long periods of time, especially when we're in our flow. Um, they don't necessarily like being alone. However, they often find themselves needing alone time to recharge their batteries. So that was the crusader. The censor, they stay true to their own nature. So they're not going to put themselves out to be part of a larger group if they don't feel it. If they feel they need to conserve energy, pull back, they will. They tend to want to be around smaller groups of people, more intimate relationships, and less time with just acquaintances. So that's the censor. Very much like the crusader, they prefer to be around people who are very logical. And that's the way they like to be. A diplomat who considers social number 5 on their list does like to be with others, but they enjoy this time with family and friends in a mellow, easygoing way. And they like to do a lot of entertaining at home because their home is their castle and it's their place of comfort and enjoyment. They will share that space with others that they admire, or family, or very close friends. They can be shy initially until they get to know you. They're very laid back and like social situations. So that is the diplomat. The activator are capable and strong, and they enjoy the company of equally capable and strong people. Um, they very much enjoy being leaders, and they love diversity and activity. So they're going to be absolutely fantastic in social situations because it's priority number 3 for them. However, they do like to hang out with people that are important to them, and not so much just hanging out with random people. So they do like the viewpoints of many different people within a group, and they find that very stimulating. So that's very, very interesting. And then connectors, who consider social number 2 in their priority list. So they love connecting with others. It's very, very important to them. Family, friends, new people that they've just met. They will share everything with new people in their social environment. And they feel energized when they are with other people. Particularly, they love sharing mealtime with other people. This is very important to share your table with other people. So they'll be entertaining and inviting you around to do these social things. Uh, they naturally ability to understand the viewpoint of other people, which makes them easy to try to get to know because they are interested in what you have to say and what you think. And they're always looking at the body language to understand who this person is. And they feel energized when they're with other people. But they also need a lot of external feedback and attention. So if you're not a connector and you're around a connector and you're being sociable, make sure you say how nice they look in that new dress. That's important for a connector. But if you're a guardian like me, it doesn't matter if somebody compliments you or not. That's not what's important. For the guardian, for your social, it's all about making sure other people are feeling that they have everything that they need and everybody is okay. And if anything is amiss, they will move heaven and earth to make sure that that issue is remedied as quickly as possible. Because the worst thing would be is if you left a guardian's house unfulfilled somehow, didn't get enough to eat, didn't meet enough people. That would make a guardian very, very unhappy. So that is social. Your profile has a lot more information about you and your social, with great tips for how to engage in the different areas of your life, and you'll read these tips in Shay or on your dashboard on your computer. That depends on where you like to see your information is how you'll find it. But I'll let you know that one of the tips that Shay comes up for me on a regular basis is it checks in with me and it says, are you engaging with enough people? Are you engaging with enough like-minded people who are enjoying the outdoors? If not, here's a pro tip for you. Join a group of like-minded people who enjoy being in the outdoors, getting some exercise and some circulation, getting some fresh air, and enjoy a conversation with some new people and expand your social circle. So that's a pro tip that I get from Shay on a regular basis. It's always checking in with me to make sure I'm doing okay. So that's it from this guardian coach and the priority of social. So for the guardian, it's number 1. For the connector, it's number 2. For the activator, it's number 3. For the diplomat, it's number 5. And for the crusaders and the sensors, it's number 6. But for all of us, social is important. It just has a different flavor for each of us. Thank you for listening.